The government's likely unconstitutional role in Bank of America's disastrous merger with Merrill Lynch. Bank of America's CEO Ken Lewis testified publicly that for the first time he was pressured to not back out of the deal or else he and board members would be fired. Joining me now to talk about how this is progressivism at its finest, syndicated columnist Jonah Goldberg, author of Liberal Fascism, out in paperback right now, and Bradley Watson, political science professor at St. Vincent College. He is the author of Living Constitution, Dying Faith. Both have columns in my upcoming issue of Fusion magazine. I did a special edition of this magazine just on progressivism because you both agree that progressivism is the cancer that has been undiagnosed by most people. They don't even know what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, the progressives reconfigured our founders' constitution starting at the end of the 19th, early 20th century. And as you say, people really don't know what it is. People still think of progressivism as some kind of warm, fuzzy, let's have nice labor regulations or something like that. It's much more than that. It is a theory, a different theory of what the Constitution is, what the Constitution should be, something that evolves, changes throughout time.
It's also very, very frightening when I hear things like healthcare, where they were talking about universal healthcare today, and they were saying, oh, well, you know, it's end-of-life stuff is where all of the, and we need to reduce the benefits at the end of life. That's frightening because early American progressives were into eugenics. They were the ones teaming with the doctors going, yeah.
Well, it's almost impossible to talk about eugenics separate from progressivism. Eugenics was simply one arm of the progressive movement in many respects. But, you know, getting back to the Ken Lewis thing, it reminds me of a great moment from the New Deal where Harry Hopkins, one of FDR's top aides, says to a gathering of New Deal activists, he says, look, we want you to do everything possible to get our agenda across that's legal. And by the way, we have plenty of lawyers around who will declare anything that you want to do legal anyway. Basically, whatever the progressives wanted to do, whatever their ambition was, would ipso facto become legal because that's all that really matters.
What's going on? Play this a little bit of the testimony of Ken Lewis today from Bank of America.
It is true that we were told that if we went through, or I can't exactly remember the exact words, so please give me license with word for word. But basically, if we went through with calling the MAC, that the government could or would remove management and the board. But I think it was in the context of them thinking that was in the best interest of Bank of America and the financial system.
This guy's lobotomized.
It's look, this is symptomatic of what we're seeing in Washington today and in the last several months, symptomatic of something much more fundamental, it seems to me, and that is the belief that the government, especially the federal government, the legislative branch, the executive branch, has an unlimited power when it comes to economic regulation, this sort of command and control economic decision making, to do whatever it wants to do. Now, this was not our founders' theory. Our founders didn't want to concentrate power. They wanted to separate power. They wanted to preserve our liberties through separation
How
of
do they get away
power.
with the? How do they get away with the czars and the? I mean, real czars. Not like I'm a spokesperson against whatever. I mean, actual controlling of budgets.
Classic progressive idea. You need, the progressive said, you don't need democratic inputs. You don't need the Republican system our founders bequeathed us. What you need is a coterie of experts, the intelligentsia, the cognoscenti, to tell us what should be done, what we should want, whether we actually want it or not.
I have to take a break, but I just want to ask you when we come back, Jonah, just to start here. The progressives, the first time that we started listening to the tweed jackets, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. More with Jonah and Brad coming up next.